If instead of rebooting movies, retelling them from a different point of view became popular, which movie would you like retold? The Game starring Michael Douglas. I want to see it from Consumer Recreation Services point of view. I want to see how they manage all the actors and situations to make sure everything goes the way they want it. The Matrix told from Agent Smith's POV. Dude is doing everything he can to prevent a bunch of smelly rebels trying to ruin his battery factory. Groundhog Day, a day in the life of Ned Ryson. Bing. Mean Girls told by the girl who doesn't even go there. This, or Glen Coco. Either way, I'd watch. How about Cloverfield from the view of a professional camera crew? This question instantly made me think of Cloverfield, but not for that reason. I remember when it came out people noticed that there's someone else with a camera in the bridge scene, and it became a popular idea that they could do a sequel from that group's perspective. This is what makes Cobra Kai so dang good. Johnny was the real Karate Kid. I also agree with Barney Stinson. Princess and the Frog. We got Maleficent out of Sleeping Beauty, so where the frick is Dr. Fasilier's backstory? He had a debt with literal demons and nobody seems to give a crap. This is such an underrated Disney movie, it gets so easily forgotten. I would think Aliens from Newt's perspective would be pretty substantial. How a girl survived all that and the loss of her family alone on a foreign planet. There's a comic from Dark Horse that has done this. It's 2 issues long. Early 90s. Actually good. Aliens, Newt's Tale. Final Destination from Death's perspective. I imagine it would just be skeleton hands setting up deadly Rube Goldberg machine with some classical music in the back. Rube Goldberg machine. Considering they're death machines, I'll allow it. Robin Hood from the Sheriff of Nottingham's perspective. It'd be great to watch a movie about a medieval cop trying to catch a highwayman. Well, this isn't my idea or suggestion because Orson Scott Card already did it, but he wrote Ender's Game a second time from Bean's point of view and called the story Ender's Shadow. Ho Ender, ho Bean. Forrest Gump told from Lieutenant Dan's perspective. Could be really good, focusing on his training, then getting sent to Vietnam and being in charge of an idiot. Then the struggles of a soldier returning from war and the way the VA treated him, just for him to reunite with the idiot soldier who saved his life. Not a movie, but I would definitely watch Breaking Bad, but from the perspective of Gus Fring. That dude has a crazy story to tell. I like that we get a little of that in Better Call Saul. Tom Riddle, becoming Lord Voldemort. I just think it would be interesting to watch his journey and his story, although maybe not all that interest, as it seems like he took a 30-year break to do whatever. There was a 17-year break in the Fellowship of the Ring storyline, where Gandalf goes to research the ring, which was glossed over entirely. Even without relatively unaging characters, there's no reason not to just have a scene which starts with a 30 years later caption. E.T. from his point of view. The frick this kid poking me for? Sir David Attenborough's Jaws. And here we see the majestic white shark rip the ever-living heck out of the unsuspecting beachgoer for sustenance. 500 Days of Summer would be really interesting to see Summer's perspective on everything. Avatar: The Last Airbender from the point of view of anyone but M. Night Shyamalan. I would love to see Azula's story. The series did a good job with her character, but expanding on it would be great. That or give us a story of Iroh's life. Let us see him go from generic Fire Nation prince to the wise, tea-loving, party show player who guided his nephew. Aladdin. From Jafar's perspective, a college theater group did a very R-rated version that is absolutely hilarious, which can be found on YouTube under Twisted, the story of a Grand Vizier. What I would really enjoy is a late 80s early 90s hand animated Aladdin where Jafar is the defender of the Sultan's realm against some nefarious interloper who is bent on stealing the princess' heart and worming his way into the royal family, and he has a genie. Frick you, Jafar. I don't like musicals and still this one was so good I keep bringing it up. Such a well done piece. Funny, dark and yet somewhat touching. A Lion King prequel from Scar's perspective. Show what really happened before the Mufasa era and see how Mufasa cheated Scar out of the throne. Scar's real name is Taka, which literally means garbage. Fricked up childhood. Horror movies from the Monster Ghost POV. Basically Beetlejuice. I want to see a superhero movie from the perspective of an insurance adjuster. It could be a comedy, but just like every day he wakes up and he's enjoying his morning coffee and a bowl of oatmeal. Then he flips open the morning paper and sees Iron Man went full Michael Bay again or the Avengers were back in town. Long sigh. Stands up. Chair squeaks on floor. Clicks pen. Straps iPad to hip. Tightens camera strap. He's the real superhero. Airbud, but told from the POV of the kid who was pulled out of a basketball game to be replaced by a dog. There's nowhere in the rulebook it says you can pull Emmy out so a dog can play, either. An alien invasion movie told strictly from the aliens' perspective, complete with their confusion about why the humans are responding the way they are. It would make sense to us but would take the narrative form of a mystery for them. It could be a clever way to illustrate cultural misunderstanding. An example could be let's show them we are friendly by revealing all our weapons, to demonstrate we aren't hiding anything, which the humans would take as a threat. I always liked that about the Borg on Star Trek. They genuinely thought they were helping the people they were conquering. A villain is scarier when it thinks it's doing the right thing. Forrest Gump from Jenny's perspective. Shawshank Redemption told from the warden's point of view. IDK that may be the dark of a story. I'd like to think that the last thing that went through his head, other than that bullet, was how the heck Andy Dufresne ever got the best of him. Charlie in the Chocolate Factory from Willy Wonka's point of view. I want to hear his wicked thoughts. I want a movie and a book called Neville Longbottom and the Sword of Gryffindor about life in the school while the big three were wandering around the woods. This isn't exactly what you described, but there's a fantastic play called Puffs that covers all 7 years of Harry's time at Hogwarts, from the perspective of the Hufflepuff students. I want to see a Batman movie from a Goons point of view, like, he wakes up and eats some cereal before meeting up with the crew, and just by chance he hung out with Joe the Goon that day instead of Bob. Now he is just gooning around at night when all of a sudden he gets his butt gets kicked in by freaking Batman. He can't believe his bad luck, and just like that, he was gone. Coolest fricked up thing to ever happen to him. The Princess Bride from Humperdinck's POV. Or Inigo Montoya, from childhood to finding the six-fingered man to what he does after. Star Wars is a goofy stormtrooper buddy cop comedy. Nice try, Disney. Who knows, maybe some good ideas will get done rather than the usual garbage. The Sandlot, from the perspective of James Earl Jones. How he grew up in the pre-Depression, pre-Civil Rights era, assuming he was born in 1900s. How he fell in love with baseball, went blind, what his life was like, and more details on how the beast came into his life and why rumors ran rampant about the pup. A Batman movie from Alfred's point of view. There goes Master Wayne in his furry suit off to beat up a clown for the millionth time for closure instead of going to therapy. Groundhog Day, from everybody else's perspective on the last day repeat. Just a movie about a small town in somewhere the guy who shows up at random points in people's day to make their lives better, for no apparent reason. A disabled and disfigured war hero, long past his prime, hunts down a cell of terrorists, capturing one of their leaders, but not before she's able to send a message call his former mentor out of retirement. In the process of retrieving the message, a family of locals is caught in the crossfire, which said former mentor uses to his advantage to radicalize the adopted son of the family. The boy manages to destroy a critical military base, giving the terrorists legitimacy, and builds up a name for himself over the years. As the boy's exploits become more and more legendary, our hero comes upon a shocking revelation. The boy is his own son, hidden away by his former mentor. He tries and fails to convince his son to join him, but the son rejects him, forcing him to choose between his honor and his family. Star Wars would be freaking wild. Rambo First Blood is about the struggle of an honest sheriff trying to stop a sociopath from creating chaos and death in his town. The book First Blood is based on First Blood by David Morrell, is actually half John Rambo's perspective, and half from the sheriff's perspective. Robocop, the Clarence Bodica story. I'd buy that for $1. Men in Black in point of view of K, instantly changes everything. Raiders of the Lost Ark, The Germans explain why this ineffectual American tried to interfere with their efforts to unleash the power of God. The most elaborate suicide mission ever. Just explaining why the villain did what the villain did without the vague balls of to get power or to become all powerful. Like Black Panther gave a legit motivation to kill Monga, that this resource-rich secret African nation exists even back in the day of the Atlantic slave trade, and they never lifted a finger to defend their fellow Africans. Wakanda is pretty messed up. No one is a villain from their own perspective. Why does the villain think they're the good guys? Everyone thinks they're the hero of their own story. Some dude who carved another dude's eye out with a spoon. Joker, but from the perspective of that kid whose parents were killed in the end of the movie. That could be great actually. Maybe the death of his parents could drive him to fight crime or something, and have Joker as a nemesis. IDK. Scrubs, but from Cox's POV. I'd take the janitor. TBH. Semi-related. I didn't believe in this concept being worth a whole really till I read Ender's Game and Ender's Shadow. It's cool going over the same base material but adding a whole second perspective and explanation for things that may not have made sense from the original. Bean is the real hero. The life of Brian from the perspective of Jesus. Dark Knight, but just follow the Joker at all times. Star Wars only told from Vader's viewpoint. The Fifth Element from Ruby Rod's perspective. The Sandlot from the cool kid's view. I need that version of Fifth Element right now. You have been visited by the happy baby pygmy murder cow. Back away slowly and subscribe quickly to ensure your safety. Like and subscribe, you magnificent person.